May this message transform your life. May God make the miracle happen. Nothing in this life happens by chance, my friends. We can't get there if we don't walk. If I need to walk 5 kilometers, I need to take the initiative to take the first step. There's no point in looking to 5 kilometers I need to reach if I don't have the simple willingness to take the first step and believe that step by step I'll get there. Everything in human life is a process, a reprocess, that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Remember that romantic song that made us cry when it was sung? Life has sounds for us to hear. Do you need to understand? True love is like a song, something like that. That has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's how it is. The process of faith in us is punctuated. One of the most beautiful things we can learn is to take a step forward, even without knowing what it will be. How many things did you think would be unbearable? Inside, because you were only seeing life through the eyes of that moment. I always say this. I witness this all the time. Love, practical in my life. My sister left. She was alive, full of life, beautiful. Suddenly she doesn't exist anymore. And you have to fix this inside yourself. I thought I'll never be able to get back up again. At that time inside you, I thought I'll never be able to get back up. In the queue, it's because I look. Only I have. Move on to. Because if not, I'll stay fixated on that one. Have you ever imagined? If Our Lady, if John, if the disciples who were on Calvary refused to come down from Calvary, let's stay here crying. But what is it? The moment of burial. It's the moment when we begin to rise again to life. As hard as a moment may be, you had to bury a son. I know it's not easy. And as much as I try with my words to get close to your suffering, I know I can't. But you can't allow that moment to be the definitive one for you. After the burial of your son, it's necessary to organize the mourning. It's because if not, we're going to die. We're going to lose the opportunity to live the resurrection for him. The table is to let go. And what about this bad feeling? We are healing this affection that is all over the surface, this that you feel all the time in you. This is cured to the extent that you replace what you think about the fact. A good idea, replace a bad idea, and the person is cured? You can observe. We need many times to replace the bad idea with a good idea, a bad thought with good thought, and the affection goes here inside. And the repercussion in your emotional life, that's why at the time of acute suffering, we become a bit dumb. We want easy answers. There's no such thing as an easy answer. Is this a moment for you? You will have the possibility of living with that answer that is harder, that takes longer. Yes, but I have difficulty with that. Stop. It is not just you, my daughter. We are very used to saffron, refined foods. And my people, sometimes the distance we use to walk is not very far. But why are we not aware of it? We remain still. We remain stagnant. We do not evolve. We do not advance. Those who remain still are possession. We are not posts. We are stars in the process of moving. It is a light that moves. Can I stay there, poor thing? God takes us. The Christian is a star that shines, that when it shines next to another, it creates constellations. The Spirit blows where it wants. That God will visit your life like this, based on particularity of what you are. He will speak to your heart based on your story. And your faith will need to grow from your human frame in a way that we can never compare. I have more faith than you. You have more faith than I do. We cannot measure how much of my process I am already able to believe in this moment of the storm. But I can assure you, if we free ourselves from the stupid questioning of how much we believe or how much we don't believe, and if we establish ourselves in the purpose of prevailing standing in times of difficulty, we will have a qualitative leap in this process of belief, of faith. Why do we need men and women of faith? Why do we increasingly need to establish ourselves in this responsibility? To make the necessary crossings that our faith will place us in. This is how we overcome fear. This is how we live the process of the ascension of Christ within us. I say again at the beginning, the destiny of Christ is the destiny of all of us. And you were born for ascension. It is upwards. If there are realities that throw us down, we will cut them off. We will not allow them. This is why Jesus said, in a wise way, everything that prevents you from reaching the kingdom of heaven, cut. Be careful, you from reaching the kingdom of heaven. Cut. Be careful, right? You won't understand it literally, will you? There won't be anything left? What he's telling you to cut is not physical, but it's what often enters us through the force of thought. It becomes a habit. Cut it. If you notice that you're starting to acquire bad habits that bring you down, cut it out. If that television program is doing you harm, if you notice that it's awakening things in you that aren't good, that aren't moving you forward, but have you noticed that sometimes the radio program we listen to, the television program we watch, the magazine we're paying attention to, starts judging us downwards? It reminds you that you're Eve, and the worst part is it's making you be Eve. No, it's Christ. It's Christ that you need to pursue. It's the good things in life. Neutralizing the power of diabolical things in the world neutralizes it. Don't let what is diabolical pass through you. Do not let that which is diabolical continue within you, and cut off at the root what is evil. Do not allow it. Do you know why? Today you are invited to be elevated. I would not be here. But Father Silvio Andre, the moment he takes you, occupy. Place your heart there too. Just like the Eucharist, just like the bread and wine, they will be transformed into the body and blood of Christ. May we all be transformed. We too at CDP have placed ourselves in Adam, and we want to be transformed into Christ. Because being Christian is this. It is me being Jesus again. It is you being Jesus again. It is you neutralizing. It is you cutting to the root everything that may affirm, making your Adamic dimension remain. The challenge is for you to believe that light exists even when darkness prevails. Happiness is not the absence of problems. I can very well be full of problems and still be happy, because happiness is a state of mind like you. Well, March sang here, it is a state of mind that puts us in waiting. Nothing can identify the Christian faith more than the concept of hope. Our hope is operative. That is, I do not sit around waiting for something to happen. While I wait, I operate, I work, I do. What makes a person happy? It's not that, oh my God, how happy I am. It's not that, it's much more than that. What makes us happy is what we hope for. We are not moved by what we already have. We are moved by what we don't have yet. It's by what we hope to have one day. And Christianity is precisely this movement that heals us, because those who are sick don't know how to wait. Those who are sick don't have lucidity to wait for the right things. Who is neurotic? Who is emotionally disturbed? Who is not in their right mind? Who hasn't gone through the process of healing, of reconciling with themselves, of reconciling with other people? They can't expect anything good. When do we need to establish a battle? The only way we have to reach that which is not physical in us. What? Physical things. You go to the doctor and he will take an x-ray and find out. But when you have something that is not physical in you and that is hurting, that is damaged and that is bruised, or my friend, it is in your reserve of love that you have to work. Because in the end, in the last instance, what will be left of us is what we manage to love about ourselves. And what will be healed is what we manage to love about ourselves. And you can pay, but how is it possible to love the worst in me? I challenge you. I am the one who is saying, understand him. The problem is yours and his. I am just preaching that the gospel says that if you do not welcome yourself to your limits, you will be lost. That if you do not pay attention to the cracks in your city, the cars to the Creator call this, looters will take everything. MC, restoring the walls is a way of loving. So neurosis, emotional illnesses, they establish themselves within us as we go on living. It's just that we go on living. Others will hurt us. Others will haunt us. Others will put difficult situations within us. For example, who has been betrayed their whole life? Afterwards, there is an immense difficulty in believing in fidelity. Okay? But at some point in my life, I have to have the same experience that the Samaritan woman had with Jesus. To have that encounter alone with him and spend my life clean? Have you ever had that mystical religious experience of one day imagining yourself before Jesus in the same way as the Samaritan woman? And let him ask all the questions that you may not have heard throughout your life. How good it is, my people, how necessary it is to hear the right question. Because we hear questions all the time. But there are some questions that change our lives. There are those questions that go deep into our history and trigger. Are those questions that go deep into our history and trigger the need for an answer, or do they plant a conflict? Cruel the need for an answer, or do they plant such a cruel conflict that until we resolve it, we don't rest? God is always granting us the grace to clothe with light that which is darkness. God is giving us the grace to live the process of lightness when everything is heavy. And we know this, my people, because we experience it all the time. When do you experience being envious? Envy? If you want something worse in this life, that throws us lower than us being envious of someone else. The envious person lives in the mud. The envious person lives wishing for something that isn't his. And when he starts to live wishing for something that isn't his, he can't build what could be his. The liar, the same thing. Lies throw us down. Lies deform us. The saddest thing there is to live with a liar. They have no credibility in what they say. They are not a person who goes up. They don't elevate. They are stuck in this defect that she doesn't seek to cure. You can observe and have courage. It's about working with the harshness of life, with the harshness of reality. It's about not disregarding what's good about you, but it's also about paying attention to what still needs to be improved. And so, in this way, we are in fact working with quality on our humanity. But then, is it you and God? It's about going there and messing with your affections, disordered in their imbalances. It's about going there, messing with your history, and realizing where you are enslaved. What are the affections that chain you? What are the affections that tie you down? Because this inner freedom is absolutely necessary for our segment of Jesus, my people. And it's wonderful when you look back and realize that you lived a journey of growth. I also got too attached to many preachers. I thought they were the salvation of my life. That suddenly, I look back and see their words for me. It's still important. But what really touches me, what will move me, is my Savior. It is my experience of Jesus. Unfortunately, many times within the church, we do not have a true experience of God. We have the experience of the other. Because I only have the experience of the other. The experience of the God that the other announces to me. Can I? I don't have a right to limit myself. And that's a Sarah right, you see? You have the right to have God in his totality, not in that fragile fragment. The same thing that the prophet experienced. God wants to do with us in our lives, to make us true disciples, to burn our hearts so that we too can transform, so that we too can be an instrument of evangelization in today's world. Be someone capable of going deep, of going beyond the limits of what appearances might suggest. Why can appearances deceive? Popular saying, the habit does not make the monk, and so on. It's the word of James, to end or point us to the only path. And that must be followed within the church, the person of Jesus. Didn't Tiago learn this from anyone else, if not from Jesus, who made it his human and divine experience? A constant learning, constant teaching. Don't get caught up in what is external. The religion that Jesus teaches is different. The religion that Jesus suggests is out of depth of the heart, of the intention that lives inside, of a heart that cannot be seen in any way. Because if Jesus were a man who looked at people in any way, I could do what he did. He could not be who he was. Jesus was a man with a deep gaze. He did not get caught up in externals. And that is why we are saved, my people. Because he does not get caught up in what the eyes show, but he goes deep down in the heart. Identifies the only cause that can truly condemn or save us, the heart that we have. Another thing, it does not save you or condemn you. It is what you move inside your heart, in metaphorical language. It is what generates your way of being. And today the Word of God is directly connected to a moment in which Jesus frees a human being from deafness and uses a wonderful word that has a deep meaning that means open up. Do not remain closed. And there I make the connection. This way of being that can give you condemn or can save you needs to be configured to the heart of Jesus, and nothing else matters. If your heart is being impregnated with the presence of God, with the presence of Jesus, if you are him, you are configuring yourself. Rest assured that you are on the right path. Your choices are on the right path. Let's go. Be what you will be. Let's be today. Let's advance this process of conversion within us. Let's accelerate our growth. The USA does not have the project as it is. Let's accelerate our growth. The USA does not have the project as it is. Brazil does not have this story of the park. What is it called? What do you call it? The project of acceleration, of growth. You urgently need a park. There are people who need to be slapped like this on the face, ball, rope, really rope when they faint, right? Have you seen it? That he faints from time to time you wake up. It's like this. Look, to wake up the growth, to accelerate this growth. Because the more we believe in God, the greater our capacity to tolerate, endure, and overcome life's difficulties through faith. Will it be greater? The opportunity that God will have to be witnessed through your life. Because sometimes there is no time. Because sometimes we will not have time to open the Word and read it to others. The most we will achieve is for them to observe our way of being. Is he a Christian? Because I don't know, I observed. As St. Paul said, how is it not green? Do you love yourself? How does this Christy from your mouth speak for your community? What is life like in your community? Anyone looking from the outside can say that. Green. How do they love each other? Life in your home? Not far away. Anyone passing by from the outside, looking in, can say that. See how they love each other. Because St. Paul was referring precisely to the process of faith. The community was already inserted in faith in God, which translated into human responsibilities, in behavior, in day-to-day life, in daily life. I believe in God. So, why do I believe in God? I am invited to treat you in a new way, to look at you in a new way, and, together with you, to anticipate in time what is already in eternity. Life, faith, and man. We see a lot of power.